Vice President, thank you for your welcome to businesses to look at Indonesia. And it's very encouraging to hear all the measures that Indonesia has undertaken to open itself up to investment. Now, Indonesia was where the Bogor Goals was launched 21 years ago. When you think of APEC over these 21 years, are you happy with the progress? And Vice President, representing Indonesia at this APEC summit, what are your expectations?
APEC is mean cooperation in economics side, in business side, in trade, in investment. What we expected is that the cooperation and how to know each others and to make the trades more growing, because we understand that the Asia Pacifics, there are new power of economy with the good trades and investment will be make fundamentally growing the welfare of peoples with cooperations. We don't want Asia Pacific compare with the other side of the country, like in Africa and Middle East, that we should be have a peacefully and cooperation. But in the other side, we compete each other too. But this is needed, this understanding the cooperation.
Thank you very much. It's interesting you mention competition, because one of the challenges of integration is that we have to balance between cooperation and competition. So every time we talk about trade, we have to deal with domestic pressures, because not all business people support market opening. How do you manage this in Indonesia? I mean, Indonesia is a big country, big market. How do you manage this tension between cooperation and competition?
Everywhere happen, because the indicator for growth is job, employment. When too much import is meaning the job will be problems for the countries. That's why we don't prevent the trades. We prevent the job for our peoples. There's sometimes dilemma for free trade, because if anybody too free or too not fair and problem of our job in any countries, I think this is especially in this situation volatiles that job very important, because job too is meaning purchasing power, job too is mean income and the others. This is social problem, political problems. This is not against the free trade, but we have prevent the job.
But managing that politics can be a challenge.
Yes. There are sometimes two problems in politics too, everywhere.
Mr. Vice President, President Joko Widodo in Washington recently mentioned Indonesia's commitment to join the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. What does Indonesia expect to gain from joining the TPP?
We intend to do. That's why now we are studying very carefully the impact, positive and negative impact to join TPP. But as President Jokowi explained in Washington, is meaning we intend, then they are under considerations. What we expected is growing in our, of course, trade, business, and investment, and to more efficient trade within the countries in Asia Pacific.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask the Vice President one more question and then open it up to the floor. If you have a question, please raise your hand so I can see you, identify yourself and ask the question. Mr. Vice President, you entered politics after a successful career in business. Has that helped you to look at politics differently? Is that an advantage in terms of understanding how to manage the intersection between economic cooperation and politics?
I'm 35 years in business, my family business. I now run my son. the difference in business politics, we are in business, importance in the objective. We usually say what our target, what our policy, what our sale, what our income. And procedure will be changed accordingly what we to achieve our objective or target. But in politics or in governments, importance in the procedures, the targets later on. But the importance in the procedure. No, don't make it procedure wrong because you go into big problems in the procedure. This difference. But that's why I combining the targets and simplify the procedures. That's why I do it when I'm in government.
So you are bringing the focus on targets into government?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there questions, comments for the Vice President? While they're thinking of the question, I have another question.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice President, we have in Asia the rise of China as an economic power and as a new major power in world affairs. And this has brought many new opportunities to Asia and to the world. But, you know, the rise of a new power also brings challenges because the global economy, geopolitics has to adjust to this rising power. How does Indonesia look at the rise of China?
Only the country that have a rising economics power can be political power. Because if you will be a political power, you need good, strong military power, and only you can pay your military power with economic power. That's why usually it's both. If you're good, if we have strong in economy, you can be strong in politics. But not this meaning you're strong in politics, you're strong in economy. That's why China? Because they're starting with strong economy and they may influence the politics. This is very usual in this our history. That's why we appreciated that. We hope that China can be stabilized. I understand China as saying, the President Xi Jinping, that China is bigger because trades. That's why any countries that great with trades investment, they will be more stabilized in the regions. Because if not stabilized in politics, the business will be go down. I think they will be established this situation.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Over there.
Over there? Ah, okay.
Yes,
gentlemen.
Again, of course, my name is Henry Lim. I'm the Research Development of Agriculture. I understand that I have two questions. Is Indonesia, are you sufficient in rice? And then the second one is that...
can you repeat that first question?
Is Indonesia sufficient in rice? Are you importing rice or are you exporting rice? And then the second one is that we are in Indonesia and we are helping the Indonesian government, a quasi-government office called Sanyang Sri, in producing hybrid rice seeds. But unfortunately, our problems if we deal with the government is that every time they change administration, the head of this agency changes. And so there's no consistency. What I would like to ask is whether if the Indonesian government, the present government, is still encouraging Sanyang Sri in order for us to develop the hybrid rice market in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, this is a very specific question on hybrid rice. Can we take another one or two questions before turning to the Vice President? Yes, the lady over there. Microphone? Over here.
Many years ago, okay, I'm Cora de la Paz Bernardo. Many years ago, Filipino expatriates were working in Indonesia to lead large companies. And one of them is a guy that I married not too long ago. But their observation is there has been considerable improvement in the quality of Indonesian people in business. How have you been sorting out the development of manpower to be able to face all the requirements of businesses that would start investing in Indonesia?
Thank you. So, question on human capital. Another quick question before turning to the Vice. Yes, the gentleman over there.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello,
Yes.
sir. My name is Tan from Malaysia. One of the problems that we in Malaysia face every year is the problem of the haze. Could you give us an insight into the challenges faced by your government and what you're going to do about it to bring about some solution to this haze problem? Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a very small question on hybrid rice. We have a very important question on development of human capital. And we have a potentially complicated question on the haze. Mr. Vice President.
Okay, thank you. Rice. Indonesia, as I mentioned, that we have 200 million people to feed. And in meantime, our fatty fields is more minus because you need housing, offices, and many business sites. That's why sometimes we need import of rice, especially this year because El Nino. That's why we should import only 1 million ton from Vietnam, maybe there, because we need stability in our stock for problem of El Nino this time. That's why we still import this year. But we hope next year, when this weather's good, I think we need not the imports again. About Sangian Sri hybrid, yes, we have a center of rice seeds, we call it Sangian Sri. We still improving for hybrid, and we will continue to make it, the production is growing accordingly to our populations increasing too. Madam, about manpower, yes, manpower, of course, there are connectivity with education and training. We have increasing the capacity of our training center education. In our constitution, there are law that 20% of our budget should be go to education. That's why education is one very big project of a country to make it our human capitals more improvingly. And we hope that new generation, especially new generation, will be more educated than before and more trained than before. That's why, for instance, like big project in Freeport, mining, 98% of all workers, 10,000 is all Indonesian, only 2% for expatriate. This is, we can do it, this even big project. Has, yes, big problem, not especially for us. Excuse me. Especially this year when El Nino, long dry season in Indonesia in one part of Asia Pacific, that the forest easily. There are two reasons why. This is a long history. In 15, there are 150 million forests in Indonesia. But when in 1670s, many foreign companies teach our people how to log and how to timber a business and destroy 1 million or 100 million, around 50 million of our forests and more dry, the situation in Kalimantan and Sumatra. That's why it happens. And including the peatland problem. That's why camp has. One thing that we cannot control because the wind. I'm so sorry in Malaysia and Singapore to say that we cannot control the wind. We don't want the haze going everywhere, but the wind we can controlling. That's why if we come to others, this happens. Not because our want to make a haze to our neighbor, because the wind do that. As well as I say that 10 months every year, the good weathers go into our neighbor, and of course you enjoy that. We don't say you pay that, but if there's some bad problems, of course, this is our problem in the region too. What we have for now? We have this year we have a big project to restore all forests. We need international cooperation because they say tropical forest in Indonesia is the lung of the world. If the lung of the world, let's rehabilitate our lung. Not Indonesia rehabilitate the lung, but the world enjoy that. We are the same. We are the same. Make it. That's why we appreciate it. We hope that the Paris Conference for Climate will make a result that we should rehabilitate it and we should pay togetherness to make a good environment in the world. That's why we hope that next year the haze may be still there, but we'll be reducing with big effort in our side. And thank you to the cooperation in the region. They send plane and many things to support it, but you cannot, we cannot do it a lot if the El Nino like this year happen.
Thank you very much. Vice President,
yes.
You are going to go into the leaders' meeting
Yes.
very shortly.
Yeah.
If there is one thing you would like to see from this APEC summit,
Yeah.
what is it?
Cooperation, and let's hand by hand join first how to make it this situation, volatiles, weakness of economies, back against, and making our countries is back to develop, more growing, and welfare for the people.
Thank you. And if there is one challenge, one big challenge that you see blocking this cooperation or making it more difficult, what would that be?
Dialogue, because you cannot solve the problems with power anymore like now on. Dialogue, how to solve dialogue like South China Sea, how we can make it dialogues, and how cooperation in free trade in between others can be make our advantage for the people too.
And Mr. Vice President, here we have the delegates of the APEC CEO Summit, many of them representing very successful, very large companies.
Yeah.
If you have one message to say to them regarding Indonesia, how would you like them to think about Indonesia? One message.
Please come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Vice President Jusuf Kalla, who in his form has been direct and clear speaking. Thank you very much. And remember, please come.